You know, when I was a kid, I used to think you were cool. No.
Chuck E. Cheese is in a really weird position at the moment. Ever since they filed for bankruptcy in 2020 and almost went away forever, they've been making a handful of good and bad business choices. Recently, they've opened up Chuck's Arcade, which is meant to be something catered towards adults, which is pretty cool, I won't lie. And including trampolines and having these little obstacle courses is a nice modern version of the Sky Tubes. Please bring back the ball pit. But then you've got stuff like them serving beer to adults in a damn kids establishment, charging $30+ just to earn more play points, and this? Now, I'm not sure if most of this stuff is just typical corporate business behavior, or David McKillips and the other staff members just stopped giving a shit. While I was following my agenda doing some daily doom scrolling on apps like Reddit and Twitter, I've noticed that there have been a few message boards that keep speculating that CEC is still suffering financially. Now, part of me wants to believe this, while the other chooses to flip the middle finger and shrug it off as a stupid rumor, since there's enough evidence to back up both sides of that statement. Not long ago, I checked out the store that was located in Bronx, NY, and it seemed decently packed to me, so I just kinda assumed things were largely in order. But then a few days earlier, when I went to another location in NY to check out how the business was going there, I was told to either buy play points, buy food, or leave, which I ended up doing without hesitation. I will say though, it's pretty clear that the brand is surely struggling with something, given how the hints were practically everywhere, like them closing a few locations in certain areas. Look, with all due respect, a majority of this entertainment center's mishaps were brought all upon themselves, since there's an endless amount of ways the brand can stay alive, but they choose to ignore. Instead, they make over-the-top decisions like completely remodeling the stores even though I thought they were fine before, and trying to phase Munch's make-believe band out of existence and then complain when they run out of money. Gee, I wonder why. Hell, I don't even think the 2.0 locations look like complete rubbish. The giant screen's kinda cool, along with the dance floor, even though I barely see kids interact with it. But since this is a ranting video, I have to complain about it. Being real, that was already a problem before, since hardly any kids sat down to watch the show tapes and characters perform on the stages, judging from the old showroom videos. Huh, maybe that's why they retired these things. Either way, stuff like this could have you think that the company just wants to milk the brand for all it's worth at this point. Especially since they've literally used AI to promote some new outfits. Why? On the fake rumor side of things, though, I feel if the company was in a lot more dire circumstances, then this would have showed up on the news or something. To be honest, I don't even know how the financial news came across the internet to begin with, since there are some claiming that this is something CEC has always been suffering with. I doubt the company would willingly share their personal problems with the general public since they have no business doing so, which could further back up the point that these could be just weird rumors. To some extent, a few of the flaws could come from the fact that arcades in general have kinda been on a downward spiral over the course of a few years, but I think they still have a chance to bounce back. But here's my question. If they're struggling financially, then how the fuck were they able to open up all the new Chuck's Arcade stores? I was told that apparently they already owned the rights to those arcade spots and just slapped the CEC branding on it, but I'm sure that still requires an assload of money, which they somehow have in their loans. But anyway, if Chuck does happen to still be struggling with maintaining its legacy, how do we fix that? Well, here are some of the best options they can look into. My first and main suggestion being, I don't know, not using AI and hire an actual animator or artist instead? Are they massively in debt to the point where they don't have the money to hire an artist? They literally just came out with this animated song. Come the hell on, guys. One of the more basic things that should have been done a long time ago was a full-on animated series of these characters. If you're knowledgeable on CEC, or at least have a brain, you'll know that one of their main goals is providing entertainment, which is present when you're sitting in the showroom watching the show tapes in the stores. Just look at these characters and try to tell me they don't deserve a cartoon of their own. It still puzzles me how we have not had an official CEC animated cartoon series on a TV company like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, or any TV company. That is, if you're someone like me who tries to pretend their last Christmas-related special from 1983 or that Galaxy 5000 shit doesn't exist. Yeah, that's how bad they are. Many articles state that the company has been exploring options such as that, but they never actually do it. Until now. Something that was announced very recently was a Christmas special starring these characters, scheduled for a release this year. Now that could be cool, if done right, but also Jarrett Reddick, who voiced Rockstar Chucky since 2012, isn't doing the voice this time for some reason. Not sure what the process behind that decision was, but I hope it's valid. Instead, Chuck will be voiced by Nathan Kress, who played Freddy in iCarly. Wait a minute, Freddy? Not again. Didn't I tell you not to show up on my channel without my permission, even though the answer will always be no? Now, where were we? Oh yeah. Before anyone asks, no, I'm not one of those 4-year-olds who are begging for a FNAF and CEC collab to happen. To me, FNAF nowadays is a shadow of its former self. Remember when it used to be a series about monsters doing freaky shit and doing jump scares? Yeah, me neither. The relentless focus on children's entertainment is stifling creativity. Of course, companies like to prioritize childish content, eliminating mature elements like jump scares since kids can't handle those. In addition, that series is the whole reason why people wouldn't shut up about that 5 kids gone missing conspiracy. I'm not even that much of a fan since it's just nothing more but a ripoff at the end of the day. To be fair, I'd be much more entertained with seeing these two brands cooperate instead of them working with AIDS Bop. They don't even sponsor PBS Kids anymore, which is admittedly the least of our worries since PBS has some issues of their own at the moment. That better get resolved. But it'll always be stupid to me how Chuck E. Cheese oftentimes refuses to acknowledge the existence of FNAF, even though they made a whole ass animation making fun of it, which is now deleted by the way, and had that shitty marketing campaign not that long ago. Like, come on, even a 4-year-old can notice that they're trying to hop on the success of the movie and series. Anyway, another obvious thing they can do is simply open up more locations in other countries outside of America. As we all know, Chuck stores have mostly been something for America to enjoy, leaving other people around the world to miss out. That's not to say they haven't tried to expand their locations in other regions like in Puerto Rico, Egypt, Canada, etc., but you're definitely not going to find a Chuck E. Cheese in the United Kingdom or in Japan. Also, having more global location spots could somewhat help prevent any knockoffs from being made. Like, what the hell was this? One of the most important things a company needs that can attract customers is signs, which Chuck could certainly use a lot more of. I'm not really fond of the way this sign looks. Seeing Rockstar with no eyebrows creeps me out. Maybe put him in a cool pose that can for sure gain the attention of kids. Plus, much like other fans, I preferred when the letters on the sign were red instead of white, since that was kind of the main color that was used in the store. Nowadays, the color for the 2.0 locations is green, which has me wondering why they didn't just paint the letters green or something. I don't know, anything but just plain-ass white text would suit the store a lot better to me and a few other people. What they should do is attempt to make something cool like the iconic Avenger Chuck sign with him giving the thumbs up that every 2000s kid like me recognizes. Or maybe something similar to this Coach Chuck sign with him pointing. Just not something like this, or this. Oh god, what the fuck? Even if they may or may not have the money to do that, I'd imagine they have the money to make better commercials instead of just this cheap stuff. Like, whatever happened to Say Cheese It's Funner, Follow Me to Fun, and Games for the Holidays? I mean, even though the first couple of Rockstar ads don't hit the same as most of the 2000s Avenger ads, they at least gave effort and feel confident enough to have some family wanting to check the store out. As a matter of fact, anyone else notice the disappearance of CGI in the commercials? The last time we saw Rockstar Chuck animated this way was in that 2020 reopening ad, and he looked like complete dog shit. On that note, there are also folks who often claim that the mouse could do with another redesign, which I beg to differ. The thing is, I doubt there's any real reason for Charles to get a new look again, since most kids and casual folks mostly associate the character with his Rockstar design, which you can't blame them for.
Even though you can still spot Avenger Chuck on many of the game's rides and signs.
Either way, we really don't need a similar situation like the Funnergate mess, trust me. Although if I had to make a suggestion, they can give him a small wardrobe change since I can't imagine that C shirt hasn't aged at all. Furthermore, can we get new renders for this guy please? Because I feel like I've been staring at this render of him playing the guitar for 13 years. Because I have. Sonic already had this issue, I don't need Chuck going through the same. They of course specify that the target demographic for CEC is kids, but if they weren't messing around, they could also have it target kids in their 10s or even teens like some of their old adverts did. It's just nice to know that they aren't completely strict with their age requirements. Even if it means not being allowed to ride the merry-go-round and getting weird looks from kids and grown-ups when they see a 20-year-old like me walking around the place alone. I've been hearing people say that a bigger company should buy or at least partner up with them, like with what Macy's did with Toys R Us. Acquiring this brand is questionable. A different owner might worsen the animatronic issues, making purchases inadvisable. As if they aren't already. Not to mention, have you guys seen what happened to certain companies that were bought out by other higher-ups such as Disney and Warner Brothers? It's risky as all hell. Actually, let's talk about the animatronics themselves and what made them special. At least to me. Seeing the band members have conversations along with their usual back and forths brought so much life to these characters. At least when they had segments in between show tapes and when they didn't just give the characters just one basic persona with little to no depth.
That's what friends are for. What do you say there, Jasper? Me? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to hear a dog joke.
It's okay. I don't really feel like telling a joke. Do you feel like getting a paycheck this week? Okay, kids, time for a joke.
See what I mean? These days we get none of that cheesy yet comical moments during the show tapes. Chuck is now just the happy-go-lucky guy, Jasper is the country folk, Helen is the singing gamer chick, Pasquale is just the Italian pizza chef, and Munch is Cookie Monster. It's not like it matters, since at the locations where they still feature the robots, they barely even move at all or are just unprogrammed with non-working or even existing curtains, since again, the companies stopped caring. And now they've just been resulted to becoming artifacts at the Chuck's Arcade locations. Also, whatever happened to them doing song covers? Do they just not have the money to do those anymore? Apparently they want to focus making their own original songs and whatnot, since the show format is no longer the same either. But if that's the case, then why do they think having collabs with Cringe Bop is a good idea, since their main purpose is ruining songs? Also, stuff like this isn't what some would call original. This doesn't mean that the brand isn't allowed to focus on original content, since it can work when properly executed, proving their own content could be undeniably captivating if they wanted them to be. Out of This World has been surgically attached to my brain for several months now. Send help.
Just like this is also a bop, even though you can blatantly tell how lazy they've gotten with the editing for these music videos. But man, seeing these MVs makes me wish they would use the other mascot costumes in some other locations besides Chuck more often. Also, a lot of people don't really like Bella Bunny for some reason, even though there's literally nothing wrong with her.
She speaks Spanish and grants more female representation to the band. Granted, they could have her do more, but I wouldn't call her awful or anything. And again, removing the animatronics just completely wrecks the franchise's originality and eliminates the very element that made it uniquely special. Try comparing what the stores looked like during the Showbiz Pizza Time Theater eras to how the brand is represented now, and as a bonus, try not to cry while doing so. I recall when the store was basically a tiny and superior Disney World. Saying that now and even back then would just get you clowned on. The point is that the team shouldn't shy away from making the new Chuck's Arcade stores fully embrace the 80s. Transform stores into immersive retro experiences, not just arcades, to truly captivate the customers. Assuming people still even like these things in the year 2025, where we have tablets and a bunch of home consoles. Not helping, I know. I really don't want to get the feeling that CEC doesn't want their business to survive, especially since I'm not ready to say bye to that rat that raised me better than my parents did. You can't make this up, but in about 2 years from now, the franchise will reach its 50th year of existing. If they were somehow able to keep the brand running for this long, then we shouldn't be freaking out too much. And for those claiming I'm overreacting about the possible end of this arcade pizza establishment and have a lack of fun, congratulations, you won the most likely to be mistaken for furniture award. Obviously, you won't see me doing protests, making petitions, or chaining myself to a Chuck E. Cheese, but I'm also not ready to let that glorious rodent fade into obscurity. I'd like for his legacy to live on for as long as it can. Even if something bad happens again, I'll always have a soft spot for arcades and this rat. But yeah, that's about all I gotta say about that rodent, so yeah, bye. Charles got arrested in Florida, holy shit!